You say they're living things, tiny little organisms, right? But yeah, it makes you wonder. The great apes, right? Gorillas, vegetarian, herbivores. So this idea that the science is we need to eat meat. It doesn't hold up to science. That's the truth. So, and if we're going to be healthier and avoid it, why not? To me, there's other moral issues. I mean, like I said before, I don't. It's kind of gross, really. Eating meat is, even eating fish is kind of gross. I mean, fish, people make pets out of fish. And, I could probably learn to live without fish too, but I'll eat it. Sometimes I'll go weeks without any, but because there's plenty of other proteinous things. So we do need protein. Men need at least like about 50 grams a day on average. Okay, over the course of the week, you need about 250 grams of protein. But the average sized man. But most men in this country get more because they're eating so much meat, which makes you feel good. I know I've eaten plenty of meat. I know that jolt of iron, and it really it makes you feel good. I know how good you feel from eating meat. I've eaten my share of meat. I know what it does, the effect it has on you, and it's powerful. So I understand it, and I don't condemn anybody for eating it. To each his own. We all have to do our own splaining on Judgment Day, and that I don't believe is going to be a big one for now, because this is the reality. I think that predator-prey reality came at the fall of man and the subsequent curse that befell the earth. But we don't need to die. No creatures need to die, I think. If you can imagine that God simply lifts the fertility if there was any chance of overpopulating, that God could wind it down slowly, whatever he chose to do. But he's got that power. Any God that can lay out the universe and everything contained therein can do that. He can pull our fertility at will. Just believe that. We can't overpopulate. I hope nobody thinks I'm an alarmist to talk about a limited nuclear exchange. But, isn't it better safe than sorry psychologically, so you're not traumatized like you might have been, like I was on 9/11? And what happened for so many years after that? So, it's better to be in the know and be ready for some horrific event that's already happened on Earth before in history. Who's to say it can't possibly happen again? Nobody. So just be ready for such an event. I'm trying to be. I'm not sure I can be, because you never know sometimes until it hits. Like the death of a loved one, we can conjecture how bad we're going to feel, how traumatized we're going to feel, but we can't really know till we actually experience it. And ask God to help us to cope and contend and carry on. Sometimes I wish I didn't get into such heavy stuff, but it's what I feel compelled to do. And, I think people would enjoy listening to me more if I didn't come off so heavy, but this is really the only time I do it. In personal, private conversations, I am a totally different person. But this is a time I feel I can let it all hang out, and get things off my chest. So I think it comes off a little negative, and I don't mean to be negative. I don't want to come off like that, but, I'm realistic. And I say we got to look at things squarely. I mean, we're up against some freaking monsters. These people, these controllers that control our very freedom. I mean, our sense of security, that's being out of fear. It's a big deal, so we got to wake up. We need to come out of our slumber and, just grab the bull by the horns and say, what can I do to make this a better world, God? How may I serve you and really be your friend and prove it? I want to get into a couple of miscellaneous things from this last week. Miscellaneous talking points, not too much in the way of current events. But, recently I talked about, this dumb, crazy 18-year-old kid that went and shot up this school, killing 19 children and 2 teachers, right? Something like that, I think, and himself. But, his parents were druggies, and I said that was, he didn't have a moral compass. Well, listen, anybody that's a druggie out there, please don't take this the wrong way. But there is a moral component. I know we all hear it's a disease, and I get that. I really do. I understand addiction is a disease that we all struggle with in some way. We all have it. We're all addicts. We just euphemistically, some people call it my habits, but they're addicted. They're ritual-like. But when you're supporting these gangs that behead people, okay, these are murderous gangs, and you look at the fentanyl, how it's killing all these young people. Okay, there's a moral component here. By supporting this industry, you're putting that money in the pocket of these murderers type thugs. So that's what I'm talking about here. That there is bad mojo, bad karma from doing this kind of crap. As you sow, so you reap. It's a bad spirit. It's a beast, not a monkey on your back. These people that are hung up on these illicit, heavy, hard drugs, the heroins and the cocaines and the meth and all this crap, man. It's a freaking beast on your back. That's what it is. I get it. I know. Everybody probably remembers the singer Donovan from the 60s and 70s. I listened to him as a tweenie, back in the day, and loved his stuff, a lot of great stuff. If you haven't heard it, listen to some of his stuff from the 70s. And but he's got some later stuff that's good. On the album Sutras, he calls it. And there's one song in particular I really like, Universe Am I. That's all of us. I've often thought, we talk about the center of the universe. I thought, that's each one of us. Each one of us is virtually with unlimited potential. And we can say, what? Well, the universe wouldn't exist even if it wasn't for me to perceive it. And it's kind of like, no, it wouldn't. So each one of us, therefore, is kind of like the center of the universe. We're of great value. We need to let each other know that so that we can act appropriately and esteem our own value. It has nothing to do with ego, vanity, or pride. None of that crap, man. That's bad crap, man. That's temporal crap that dies with us when we die. And with our body dies, not us. We can't really die. All right, friends, I'm on to a couple thoughts from the last several weeks now. It's been since I'm way behind on my thoughts. Through glaring and overwhelming empirical evidence, we can clearly see the wanton, unnecessary human suffering humans continue to inflict upon each other. If we are simply being honest, and we can see just how wrong it is to continue in a blatantly amoral path, a path filled with cold indifference and reckless disregard for others' suffering unnecessarily, and violence being imposed, and the tolerance of desperate poverty in the, quote, wealthiest nation on earth, as so many pundits proclaim. These are our brothers and sisters, a land where criminals are treated better than desperately poor. Is this a nation we're really proud of? At this point in history, I want to be proud, rather, of America, but we must be worthy of pride if it is to be God-given and not ego-driven. No art by any artist in any format can hold a candle to the master artist, that is the Creator God Almighty. We must remember that though we may not understand many things, that God understands everything. So where do you turn for knowledge and wisdom, for counsel, for comfort, for encouragement, for strength? Therefore you have those great gifts to give others in that dose. I know where to go. I can't save your life, but remember, we're owned. Our parents did very little. They don't own us. The evidence for the existence of a loving God can be found everywhere. The evidence against a loving God is to be found nowhere. Like it or not, God is in our lives each and every moment of the day. The question is, do we like it? I believe that, we should love God, and, if we're not loving God above all else, we're on the wrong track. But the love affair really begins with God when you start realizing, I like you. Something happens in your life, you go, you're really cool. I could not ever imagine a better God than this. I like you. I don't just love you. Love is cheap. Love your enemy, right? But like, now that's pretty special. Just as it's not nice to, quote, fool Mother Nature, it's not smart to piss off the living God. Friends, I gotta leave it there. Have a great day. Have a great eternity. And just try to be nicer and 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 nicer. That's the best we can do, really. Just to